You know, it's a little bit strange because I see a lot of Xbox fans still, like on the day to day, they'll post things like not realizing what they're saying is a lot of the things that I'm saying, but they're not really 100% understanding of what's happening. So, like when I say something like Microsoft really looks like they're offloading Xbox fans to PC so that it makes it easier for them to stop hardware. You know, a lot of people don't really understand that. They're like, well, what would they gain from that? Blah, blah, blah. Well, the thing is the hardware continues to drag them down. I also believe that what they're doing is with this whole play anywhere stuff is obviously trying to make it so they can get as many as this play anywhere games as possible. So imagine this. So imagine if every game was play anywhere. Then if they just come out with this Xbox PC and they're like, okay, well, you can buy this thing, all your game library would be there, right? Same thing with like these PC handhelds, like this Asus thing or whatever, would be able to play your library, and that would be a good thing for them because then if they were to stop hardware, they can go, oh, but you can still access your games here, right? Even though that's not nearly the same thing or what we all had in mind when we bought our games and things. So. But basically what I'm getting at is that Microsoft is doing things to kind of set up their future, which is, I believe, a future with no Xbox hardware and things like that. They also obviously have a situation where they have a certain return on investment that they need on all their games, meaning there could be a situation where even more studios are closed down or let go, given their freedom, and certain games probably won't get made anymore. Like the smaller games that we're getting now, the South of Midnights, the Hellblade 2s, those types of things probably won't be games that we get in the future due to the fact that Microsoft has this big 30% return on investment, right? Like those games don't sell. Even when they put them on PlayStation, they don't sell. So, you have that. And now with this move right here, it's even a bigger warning. So it was reported that Xbox is undergoing leadership changes with Microsoft Gaming Chief Financial Officer, CFO, Tim Stewart moving over to Bethesda's parent company, ZeniMax Media, as the new COO. So if you don't know, Tim Stewart is the guy who originally kind of broke the news that there would be no more exclusives for Xbox, right? He's like, remember he said this a few months before they did the big February thing where it's just 4 games, not a change to our fundamental exclusive strategy, right? But before that, and the whole thing that led up to that was Tim Stewart's comments about, how people used to look at PlayStation as competition or whatever, and he kind of laid it out that there wouldn't be exclusives anymore, things like that. And so this guy, and the reason why you would put him now over as a COO over at Bethesda ZeniMax is because you have this guy who's in charge of money and everything like that. It means that he's going to tighten that ship, which means all the rumors and stuff of more layoffs and stuff like that is definitely coming. So in Stewart's place will be Xavier Pozinski, who's currently the corporate vice president of Microsoft Gaming and will be taking on the CFO role instead. All this according to Windows Central. Tim Stewart will be COO of ZeniMax in 2026, and Xavier stepping into the role of Microsoft Gaming CFO. Inevitably, people are going to question what this means, and honestly, it's hard to say for sure, but there's plenty of theories. This is how some people are kind of analyzing it. Microsoft has implemented significant leadership changes in its Xbox division. Tim Stewart, previously the CFO, has taken a new role. This move comes as part of a broader strategic alignment. Meanwhile, Xavier Brzezinski, who has contributed to Microsoft's gaming finance sector for almost 12 years, steps into the role of Chief Financial Officer for Microsoft Gaming. These adjustments indicate Microsoft's ongoing commitment to strengthening its gaming segment and aligning its management structure for hitting those 30% gross. So basically, according to The Verge and Tom Warren, which, he says sounds more like moving a finance expert into ops to tighten budgets, etc. That was according to Tom Warren. So whatever the case may be, these changes will be apparently taking place in January of 2026. It'll mark Stewart's first new role at Microsoft since becoming Xbox CFO in February of 2015, while Brzezinski has been working in various finance-related roles at Microsoft in recent years. This has been part of the Microsoft gaming team since 2023. So basically, they kind of want this guy to kind of go in there and like tighten the reins a bit, you know what I mean? Make sure that, the head counts are going a certain way and things like that. it's going to be difficult to kind of see exactly everything that kind of happens in there. But according to Windows Central, Tim Stewart, the CFO of Microsoft, will be stepping into the role. Who obviously, Bethesda publishes a lot of stuff. They have Doom, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and things like this. It's been a strange year for Microsoft and Xbox gaming as a whole. The company launched numerous games, but some of them had some lackluster sales per se. At the same time, the company's been seeing a ton of layoffs, with multiple games being canceled and numerous developers being cut, and even closures of studios. And earlier we saw the report from Bloomberg revealed that Xbox division is being asked to hit 30% accountability margin by Microsoft CFO Amy Hood, a number that is well in excess of the gaming industry standard. So again, this is why you put somebody who handles the money into that situation, and you can imagine that there's not going to be much going on in terms of availability and things like that. So yeah, October also saw a number of changes rolled out in the company's Game Pass subscription service, with new features being added alongside an eye-watering 50% price hike. Microsoft also raised prices on their consoles twice this year, a move that noticeably coincide with them, I guess, rolling back some of the some of the situations where we would have had before, right? Like, you usually would maybe lower the prices in a console generation, and now we see that, hey, they're not gonna really lower that. So again, you put this guy into that situation to tighten the reins and lower things and things like that. So I think that what we're seeing now is Microsoft kind of setting themselves up for the future, and having this kind of mix up, or having these people in there and there's already rumors, Satya Nadella saying, hey, we're going to get smaller, we have too many people, and with AI creeping up and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of clear that Microsoft's intentions are going to be to vastly use the AI and all that kind of stuff, and to get rid of as many people as actually possible. Which, again, this is my problem, right? Like, AI can do interesting things, right? But it's so lifeless, and it always will be, right? Because AI doesn't have a soul. So when you're creating games and stuff, and there's always something, like, whenever I see people enjoying, like, a great game, like maybe a great Nintendo game or something, everybody's laughing and having a good time, that's because those games have a soul. There's something to it. And I've noticed this about Xbox games, especially lately. They can be gorgeous and they can be decent games, but they aren't like these games with a lot of soul to them. They aren't games with like a lot of, that kind of, that passion. You can't feel the passion behind them. The you know what I mean. I'm not saying they don't have any good developers or anybody that's passionate about games, but it's that they have this so much corporate. And so much corporate greed and grip onto all this stuff that it makes it difficult for that to come out. And it's like with some of these other games and some of these, certain games. It's like look at this game, right? Like that. And I didn't play this game, so I don't know. But that Claire Obscure game, right? Those are a small development team that had a lot of passion for games. They only spent $10 million making this game, and it wins all these awards and everything. These people were passionate about doing this game, right? And it showed. Microsoft will spend $500 million on Halo, and it's slop. It's like the games that they're putting out, it just seems like they can't really do what what people really expect from them. And it's like, it's a real shame. It's like they're not getting it, that it's not more and more corporate stuff, an overhead and all this kind of stuff isn't going to help create better games. It's actually going to make gaming worse. And that's an unfortunate situation, as far as I can tell. I really dislike seeing how far things have kind of gone for that. And it's as fans of gaming, I think it's all right to kind of call these companies out too when this stuff happens, because otherwise they'll just continue to kind of take advantage of gamers, and I don't want that. I'm really pretty tired of that happening, just as a fan of gaming in general, the way that kind of happens. So you guys probably have a good idea of what I'm talking about with this stuff, but I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this? They're kind of shuffling this stuff around to get the money people, who usually deal with like budgets and stuff, into a place of leadership with ZeniMax. Like, I mean, it's pretty clear as day that they're going in there to tighten things up. And if I were you and an Xbox fan, I would definitely say get ready for more layoffs and stuff sometime early in the year. Those were rumors that we had anyway, so it's going to be interesting. What do you guys think about these changes? Are you guys worried at all about what's happening with Xbox? Let me know down below. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.